The shadow self is an important part of the psyche. Identifying our shadow self can help us move towards wholeness. Let's go through the key components. The persona is the aspect of someone's character that is presented to or perceived by others. The persona is comprised of qualities and traits that are shared consciously and intentionally, whereas the shadow is made up of all of the taboo thoughts, feelings, and traits that have been suppressed or rejected and therefore resurface unintentionally. The shadow exists because we were taught to banish these traits in order to gain and maintain approval from others. By hiding the traits considered objectionable by others, we never had the chance to work through them. This is what stokes the shadow. These qualities move underground and surface in subconscious and self-limiting ways. When we accept these shadow traits, we can move through them in healthy ways so that they can become intentional, self-expanding traits. For example, what shows up subconsciously or indirectly as aggressiveness in our shadow can be refined to show up as intentional assertiveness in our persona. The shadow has positive and negative qualities. Our negative shadow can reveal our unexamined shame or fears, and our positive shadow can reveal our unclaimed traits we admire in others. Projection is the judgments we assign to others. It is the things we say to others that we should be saying to ourselves. Projection takes place when someone is emotionally affected by another's behavior. Every person to whom we react with strong fear and repulsion, or desire and admiration, is a twin of our own psyche. Simply noticing these moments of projection are a great first step to identifying and then befriending our shadow self. For example, you could project pride onto someone whose career you admire, whereas on their end, maybe their accomplishments are not as significant. You could also project shame or humiliation onto someone you think is lazy, whereas on their end, maybe they value their work-leisure balance. What do we do with the shadow self? Step 1. Accept your shadow self. Step 2. Explore the shadow. Step 3. Accept your negative emotions with compassion. Step 4. Nurture your inner child. Step 5. Believe that you are worthy of good things.
Now we'll be applying our knowledge on the shadow and persona into a poetry art activity. You'll need paper, a pen, something to journal in, and coloring materials. We'll start with some brainstorm journaling. Feel free to answer any or all of these questions. These are some questions that will hopefully lead you to identifying your shadow traits, the traits that we suppress. For example, the first question, what are the qualities of someone you dislike? The qualities you dislike in someone may actually be the qualities you dislike within yourself, or this may lead you to identify a conflicting trait with that person. If you dislike someone who is loud or attention-seeking, is this because you find yourself to be seeking attention or because you are envious of those person's traits? The second question, what are you most afraid someone will find out about you? This may lead you to shadow qualities that you are burying within yourself. The third question, when people first meet you, what is their first negative impression of you? This question may prompt you to think about the shadow traits that first appear when people haven't gotten to know your character yet. After you take some time to journal responses to those questions, we will start identifying our persona. To restate, the persona is the aspect of our character that we present to others. The shadow and persona are actually interconnected. Our shadow traits can actually appear in more positive ways in our persona. For example, the shadow trait of selfishness can indicate independence. Being competitive could also mean that you're passionate. Choose 3 of these shadow traits you listed while journaling to match 3 persona traits to them. Think about how your shadow could be reframed to reflect the character you identify with. Coming to terms with both these sides of our personality moves us from being self-limiting to self-expanding. Now we'll start to create our acrostic poem. On your sheet of paper, choose one of the shadow traits you narrowed down and write it vertically in the center of your page. Don't write your letters too big because you want to make room for your poem. On a second sheet of paper, start brainstorming sentences that reflect the persona that was paired with that shadow trait. These sentences should stem from a letter in your root word. For example, for the first letter, A, I wrote I am. Your chosen letter can appear in the beginning, middle, or end of your sentence. After writing your poem, I like to underline each letter of my root word in order. Now write your poem stemming off of your root word. I suggest using pencil in case you make any mistakes. Now this step is optional, but if you'd like, you can add doodles and illustrations to further enhance your poem. I added a drawing of me hugging myself, as well as some flowers and a sun to symbolize growth. Now color it in however you want, and you now have your acrostic poem. I hope you enjoyed this activity and have learned about the importance of identifying our shadow self to become more whole and self-expanding.